Hi guys, Togger here with a new video, and this video will be my should you main Demon Hunter in World of Warcraft Dragonflight PvP, and will be my last video until Evoker whenever it comes out, and I can test it around in BGs, but also just in a leveling mood whenever I wanted to do some battlegrounds for leveling and test it out for myself and propose you guys to actually go level it and play it or not. I'm going to give my honest opinion about Evoker and how it feels playing one. But before we start, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. We are at 2k subscribers, which is quite big because my deadline was December for having 1k subscribers, even less, I would say like 700 subscribers, which is actually insane, the amount of support I'm getting from you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and I hope I can make a lot of quality content around PvP for you guys coming into Dragonflight. Now let's talk about the class tree for Demon Hunters, but I want to say that I'm only going to talk about Havoc because I'm not going to promote tanks for now in PvP because it is not centered around PvP for me. They need to improve a lot of things to make tanks actually viable, but also just not a cheese spec in PvP. And I'm looking forward to their response to how they are going to balance tanks in PvP, if they are going to butcher it or if they are going to give it a second life. But now let's focus about the DPS spec, which is Havoc. The good thing is that they are actually changing a lot of stuff, which makes that your rotation is quite different. Now, at level 60, you have a build which you can play to actually cheese a lot of wins in pre-patch, and it will be different in at level 70. They also will do some bug fixes and such, so I'm not going to cover that build. I'm not going to cover any build really. I'm going to talk about the spells that you can have and the gameplay difference between Shadowlands and Dragonflight, and if it's worth it to actually main that spec or class. So let's now talk about the class tree. And you'll also already see at the bottom that you get the hunt back, which is a fantastic ability for demon hunters. It is annoying to be on the receiving end because you do get a hefty buff burst damage from that demon hunter, but I think it's one of those spells that are actually very fun for the demon hunter to press. So I'm very, very happy for it to come back. I'm not myself a demon hunter player, but whenever I see the hunt pressed in Shadowlands, I'm actually very happy because it means that they are not necrolord and they are actually benefiting a lot of damage versus the survivability for necrolord. So now they added the hunt for the demon hunters. I think it's also very fun to have another button to press to do some damage. You also see a lot of things like implemented metamorphosis CD reduction with first of the Illidari, which you can double dip into your PvP talent. I don't know if it's going to stay or not, but you can make it a 2-minute CD if you're going for Rush of Chaos. Now, I think you will always go for Rush of Chaos, and you will have to choose between first of the Illidari and Demonic. I think most people will play with Demonic because then you will always have a demon form at your disposal whenever you're doing an I-beam, which has a 40-second CD, but it does a lot more damage, right? So I think you will have to choose between doing a little bit more with your demon form with I-beam, or if you want to have a lower CD metamorphosis. In my opinion, I'd like the 2-minute CD on metamorphosis because then it's a real CD, and you will have to opt talents to get a better rotation outside of your metamorphosis, so that you're not really reliant on that CD to do damage. And for now, I see a lot of people actually doing a lot of great amounts of damages without being metamorphosis. So the meta will be a buff to yourself in doing more damage, but it will not be necessary to kill targets. So I think it's a good way to design that spec. Now, I'm going to talk about the first talents that you're going to get, like Vengeful Retreat, which is like something that you're going to get baseline. You have Blazing Path, again, very easy to get. You get an additional charge on your Fail Rush. in prison, which is still something you're going to get all the time. Improve disrupt, so disrupt will be like baseline, so you don't have to take a silence or interrupt on the class tree or the spec tree. So I think that's good for demon hunters at least. You have a lot of ways to actually improve a lot of spells. Like for example, vengeful retreat, you can get vengeful bonds. I don't think you really need that in my opinion. Even though it's a great slow, I don't think you're going to use vengeful retreat to slow targets. I think it's more about kiting away or to use that mobility on the other side to actually catch someone. So you try to turn your back at the right time to get the vengeful retreat and go directly towards your target instead of just running away from your target and slowing them. You have pursuit, again, improving your movement speed, which is affected with mastery. You have throw glaive, so now you have a slow with your throw glaive. You have a possibility to not get kited around all the time, which is good, but also having a second charge with it. And you get Chaos Nova, which is also improved with the Unleashed Power talent. Excuse me, I'm brain lagging. So you have Unleashed Power, which reduces the fury cost of Chaos Nova by 50%, but also reducing the cooldown. So again, very neat to have. You will always have talents with which actually reduces magic damage taken, so that just still exists. You have also some quite cool talents, like for example, collective anguish. So you improve your eye beam to actually summon an allied vengeance demon hunter who casts fell devastation and deals quite amount of damages towards the enemy. The thing is, it is easily kiteable. It's also like not really dodgeable, but I would say like you're just walking away and you will not get hit, basically. So I think you will have to combine it with a stun and then use your eye beam, which then will have more damage. But if you're just doing eye beam just for it, it's not enough to actually like be a threat. And I feel like that talent is not really good if you're not combining it with a stun or with whatever CC you can have to actually stop them from moving. You have darkness, which is improved with pitch black, but pretty much everyone is going to take it because it will make it 3-minute CD instead of a 5-minute CD, and 5 minutes is very long. 3 minutes is all right for a like defensive CD. You have also noticed that as a demon hunter, like a Havoc demon hunter, you can have a lot of sigils that are actually available for vengeance hunters, demon hunters. And I think that's a very good thing. It activates another playstyle where you will have more buttons to press, but also more CC. I don't know if it's very fair for them to get it because you will have crazy amounts of CC and actually disruption to the enemy team with the amount of damage that you have, with the amount of leech and self healing that you have. I think that's a bit of like too much good towards the class, but they might still like be able to balance it around to have a demon hunter not being a S plus class just because of the kit that they have. So they have Sigil of Flame, that's for the damage proportion, but I would suggest to go actually towards the bottom if you want to have a lot of sigils. You have Concentrated Sigil. All sigils are now placed at your location. The duration of their effects is increased by 2, so if you can put a sigil and they're walking away and you're on top of the enemy, you can just press it and you will get the sigils like right beneath you. So that's also very good to actually have awareness and to always be on the move. You have also precise sigils. All sigils are now placed at your target's location. Excuse me. Actually, so you have choice between at your location or the location of the enemy. So again, I think it's better to have on your location. Your stunning, you will be anyways be on the same target, on the same place. But I think if you want to do a silence, it is quite nice to have a ranged sigil movable ability, so you can actually do a silence on the enemy team or a fear. You have Sigil of Misery, which is quite strong. You will have a fear as a demon hunter, so you will have a banish effect, and you will have a fear effect. And you also have 2 stuns, and you have also a interrupt, and you have also a silence with, if I'm not mistaken, I think I may be mistaken, they don't have a silence anymore. Or am I crazy? They had a silence on the previous iteration, but they might have removed it. Hmm. Yeah, so it seems like they removed it. Alright. So I think it's alright then. If they don't have a silence, I think it's alright to have the Sigil of Misery, being able to actually put it on the enemy team. You will have some like disruption, but at least you don't have a silence. I think Vengeance and Demon Hunters still have the silence proportion. I swear I saw that they had a silence with a sigil, but they might have moved it away from the Havoc Demon Hunter choice, or at least from the class tree. But anyways, you will have a fear. You also have a lot of ways to actually improve your defensive capacities, but also reducing the cooldowns of those sigils. So all sigils activates 1 second faster, so it's easier to actually use it. But also CDs are reduced by 20 seconds, 20%. So 2 minutes will become 1 minute. I can't count anymore, guys. It will be like 1 minute and like 25 seconds, something like that, or 30 seconds, and I don't really count. But anyways, it will be a little bit shorter. It would be interesting to have if you want to go that deep. But I think you will still go for the hunt, the unnatural malice, and you will go for darkness with pitch black, and maybe go to the left side, which I think collective anguish is more interesting than having the defensive capacities for your demon hunter. But I think in solo shuffle it might be interesting to have that because you want to survive, and I think solo shuffle, the meta at least, will revolve around having the best defensive capacities. Now let's talk about Havoc, the Havoc Demon Hunter spec, and I think it is fun. It can be better, but it is for sure better than Shadowlands because you do have a lot more buttons to press. So now let's like look over if it's going to be interesting for you guys. You have still Demon Blades. I wish they just removed that passive and made it a bit more interesting to have a like builder. Again, I think they should step away from that builder spender like crap with all the classes. But for now, we are in a better state than Shadowlands, but I would have like loved something else than builder and spender gameplay that always had been a rogue gameplay ish thing. Now everyone has that, like instead of combos, now it's just like building like a resource and then spending that resource. While, for example, a warrior in Wrath of the Lich King, your builder was just melee attacks and like rends and whatever you can actually apply to the enemy team, and your spenders would be just mortal strikes, rends, overpower, whatever ability you're going to press to do a lot of damage. But anyways, let's talk about the interesting talents that you have. You still have Force Blood, you have Mortal Dance, which will be reduced in PvP, so it will not be for 50%, but it opens you up to other PvP talents. So you don't need to take Mortal Dance, but you can also just not take Mortal Dance on the spec tree and spend it elsewhere. So you have a lot of like possibilities to play around. You have builds that you can actually play around Chaos Strike, and I think that's a fun playstyle to have. You can also have a build where you're playing around Immolation Aura, which is a lot of like padded damage, but over a certain amount of time in arenas, you will have a lot of great moments where you're going to win games because of that pad damage. You still have a Fell Eruption, so a stun that these are quite reliable on a 30-second CD. You have talents that actually are amplifying the damage on your blade dance. That was a conduit, now it is just a talent. and improves 40% damage on the final slash of Blade Dance, which is for sure noticeable. You have still Trail of Ruin, so you can combine a lot of great things, like for example Trail of Ruin with the Unbound Chaos talent, which is nerfed, but it is still in action, so you can have both, and I think that combination is quite scary. You have also the talent that actually improves the damage of your eye beam, so you can do a eye beam like build if you really so desire, with also the collective anguish talent from the demon hunter class tree. You have again Chaos Strike builds implemented on the right side. You also have Burning Wound, which is the legendary that you played to actually improve the Immolation Aura damage. So you have also a Immolation Aura build, and you see that you have a lot of ways to actually improve the damage, like Rage Fire. You also have a Trogglaive build where your Soul Rent will activate a debuff, so every damage that you're going to do will do extra amounts of damage on the enemy team as a dot. So I think, or is it as a dot? I don't think it's as a dot, but it's hitting for a big amount of damage. I think it is quite scary. I think it will be nerfed because a lot of people are actually complaining about Soul Rend, and I can understand why, because there is also a bug. And in general, it's a great way to play the game, I think, as a demon hunter, to have multiple ways to actually play the game design wise, much more than in Shadowlands. You have also now Fodder to the Flame or Elysian Decree as a choice, like Covenant abilities or passives that are coming back into Dragonflight. I think most people will still play with Fodder to the Flame because, again, it will heal you for crazy amounts of damage and give you a buff to your own damage. You have also a few returning talents, like for example Essence Break. Voice crack. Essence Break is such a great idea, but I don't know if you're going to be able to take it with the amounts of great tools that you can have. Like for example, people will for sure will have to take Accelerating Blade, will take Soul Rent, 2 points into it, and they will for sure take Fodder to the Flame, and then probably any means necessary because it will improve your the hunt damage, but also just your damage in general with fire or shadow. So your Fodder to the Flame will do more damage, your Immolation Aura will do more damage, everything will do more damage with your mastery. So now you can stack reliably your mastery to do a lot of great damage. So I think the right side is overly greatly tuned, and the left side, again, you have the possibilities to actually have great talents. Like for example, know your enemy, gain critical strike damage equal to your critical strike chance, so it could be 20% or 30%, and then you will do that amount of damage extra whenever you're critting. So that's actually very, very strong because a lot of people will not crit for that amount, but you as a demon hunter can do that. You have Grave Tempest, which is good for PvE, and also Fell Beverage, which is a 1 minute CD, but the damage is quite noticeable if you're actually pulling that off in PvP. Again, you have Chaos Strike builds, Blade Dance builds, Immolation Aura builds, even Eye Beam builds. So I think as a Demon Hunter, you have a lot more choices, which makes gameplay a lot more fun, right? Um, so the big question is, should you main Demon Hunter in PvP for Dragonflight? And in my opinion, if you are maining in Shadowlands your Demon Hunter, there is no way you are not going to main it in Dragonflight, because you will get all the great tools that actually made Demon Hunter quite strong back and mixed for you in Dragonflight. You will have the possibility to have the hunt, which is probably going to be insta taken by everyone, and Fodder to the Flame, which are two covenants that were always played in PvP, either for the damage proportion of the hunt or the survivability portion from Necrolord. And I think that combined together is a really cool like mixture of fun and strength for a like demon hunter. Me personally, I don't like Further to the Flame. I think it's too strong. I think it's also not very fun for a demon hunter. I guess the only thing that I think is fun for the demon hunter is being healed and topped by themselves by just throwing a glaive and like taking their soul. But I feel like it's very hard to actually balance, because if you're butchering that ability, it will not be taken, and if it's too strong, everyone will take, and it is not fun to play against. And maybe it's fun for the demon hunter themselves, but the incentive is just praying for the RNG to pop a demon and then survive, or it doesn't pop and and you're dead. So I feel like it's not very super interesting gameplay there, while the hunt is something that you can control and use at any time whenever you want to do damage or scare the enemy off with a cancel aura. Sometimes you can cancel aura the hunt and pop some CDs from the enemy team. So I would say you should main Demon Hunter in Dragonflight if you mained it in Shadowlands. If you're looking for I would not say simple, but I think it's a rather simple spec, and you want to enjoy your time doing so. You want to be able to do RBGs because it will be good in RBGs. You want to do arenas 2v2 or 3v3. I think it's a great spec. I think in solo shuffle it's a bit difficult because your team utility, which is darkness, is something that is reliant on people staying in that darkness. And sometimes they just walk away and die outside of your darkness, which is a shame because it's a big CD that you used it preemptively to avoid damage. And if that guy knows that they are going to actually get trained and they are going to walk away at 80% HP while they are inside of darkness, it must hurt inside the demon hunter. So I would say if you want to dominate 2v2, 3v3 and RBGs, I would suggest you main demon hunter if you want to have a simpler rotation. I would say if you want to have a bit more complex rotations, I think you should play other specs, other melees. If you want to have a very complex rotation, I would go for Rogue. If you want to play an intermediate class, which is not really no brain, but also not like big brain, I would go for Warrior. I think Warriors are fantastic. I think it's the most noob friendly, but also pro friendly out of the classes, because you will have a lot of depth to actually improve your skill, but also a great starting point to start your WoW PvP career, right? So yeah, I think I'm very happy with the class tree and the spec tree of Demon Hunters. Although I'm not really a Demon Hunter player, I don't know. I think I'm not going to main it. Because I do like the other specs and classes. I don't think I will have a space for Demon Hunter to be played by me. But I can understand why people are actually liking Demon Hunters, and especially with the changes in Dragonflight, you do get all the great tools that you already wanted in Shadowlands, and mixed together into one big poison mixture that are actually very good to use for the enemy team and against the enemy team. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Again, like the video if you like the video. Comment below what you think about like Dragonflight and the Demon Hunter class as a whole. I'm very happy to have done this series. Some videos did not so good, some videos did very well, but I wanted to actually give the options to the viewers, or my viewers, or just YouTube viewers, to actually choose their class wisely for Dragonflight. Numbers can still change, but I think design wise, you want to play something that will make you happy from going from work, or going from after school, or if you want to relax from your day, you want to play something that is fun. And I think design is there to make it fun and not only the numbers. So thank you for watching, have a great day, and be sure to stay safe. I will see you in a next video. Bye.